So hello good YouTube. Today we're going to take a look at this Focke Wulf Ta 154 in 148 scale from Revell. It's a pretty cool looking aircraft, I think. And I expect it to turn out pretty good. These Revell 148 kits are decent. I've had very little problem with it, except for there's the JU87B was a really old kit, I think from the 70s, maybe from the 60s even, and it was lacking a lot of detail, but it was just because of the age, and I guess at that time it wasn't really a thing. Their newer kits are a lot better. So let's get started here. Oh, and it has nice box art too. So we have the normal Revell instruction sheet here. Color table. Which that's one thing I really have to say I don't like about Revell, is their colors aren't all that good. They used to be better. One big problem is they changed the tops, the lids. There used to be a thicker metal and they wouldn't bend when you opened it, but now they bend really bad when you open it. And then you have problems getting it closed really good, so they end up drying out when they're like half full still. So here we have there's 7 trees of plastic. This is a clear tree. The rest are in gray. So we start out here with the cockpit. It looks, with the pictures, it looks pretty detailed already. Multiple parts. Painting instructions for the panels. Painting instructions for the instrument panel. The stick looks nice. There's the pedals here. Then we have 2 seats. It looks like they have molded in seat belts. There's a bulkhead here. And here's some more detail for the inside. It looks like the instrument panel, or the sight for the back. It's an observation craft, so it's probably a scope, a camera, something like that. Then you put the cockpit into the fuselage, glue the fuselage together. Here's the tail fin, or the rudder. So you do the rudder and the horizontal stabilizers. Then we start working on the engines. The engine doesn't look that very good. It doesn't look very much detail on it. We'll have to look better on the plastic. So here is, I don't know, the intake, maybe for a turbocharger. I don't think the exhaust would be pointing in that direction. It doesn't really say. But here, you glue it on here. Then we have the what are they called? The pylons for the engine and the rear landing gear. You have to put this plate in there, some painting instructions, putting the cowling into the piece there. Then here we have the main landing gear, the propellers. There's separate propeller blades that have to go onto the hub. It looks like they spin. There's a polycap here for it. Painting instructions for the propeller. Then we're putting the wheels in and the doors on, the landing gear bay doors. Here, gluing the wings together. Other wing, we have some rockets. Another door. Same thing here. Here's the front landing gear. It looks like it might be a ladder. Goes here in the nose. And you're putting the nose on. That another detail part for the interior. Here's the canopies, and I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, that's the rear part of the canopy. You see it in the picture there. Then we have antennas and such things here. Pitted tube, and these the fins that go in the back, and some more small detail parts here. Then we have oh, I don't remember what these antennas are called, but they have this 4 big antennas that go in the front. Then here we have the painting instructions. It's just one version to build. And it's in RLM 76 and 75. Which is, now that's what I really don't like about these Revell kits. It's always these mixtures, and they're hard to, I mean, you can mix the whole thing and it might not be enough for the whole aircraft, and when you do it again, it might not be exactly the same, and you have 2 different colors that are supposed to be the same colors. They're just calling for 40% gray, 20% white, and 40% light green for the 75, which I have other colors that I use for that. And here for the RLM 76 is blau grau, which that doesn't really sound right to me somehow. I have a whole list of colors that I use for whatever color it calls for, the RLM colors. So then they all look the same. Now looking at the plastic, and there's quite a bit of plastic here actually. The clear parts have really good frames around it, I think. The frames look good. And they look crystal clear. Not all that thick either. So the clear parts are good. I think I already said I don't like taking the clear parts out of the bag because they end up getting scratched. So here we have the wings. It has a nice texture to it. Nice recessed panel lines. Of course, it's not going to be anything on this side because it has the pylons there. So the wings look good. So here is the second tree. See, there's already some detail on the inside here, but there's also pin marks. They're really light pin marks, at least on this side. So this is going to have to be taken care of, this pin mark here. It's not such a big deal, it's not really deep, and it's not really big or anything, so a little light sanding will get rid of it. So you see there's a little detail here on the inside of the cockpit, and there's pin marks here also on the inside of the wheel well here. But those are going to have to be taken care of, but once again they're light pin marks, they're not really a big deal. Here also on the inside of the wheel bay door, gear bay doors is pin marks as well. Here's the nose, and this ladder goes there. I think it's a ladder. It looks like one. So here we have the instruments for the cockpit and some more cockpit parts, and it looks pretty good. There's no instruments inside, but the circles for the instruments are there. There's actually dials here on the instrument panel though, so you can paint, you know, it should probably be black on the inside and the dial will be white or silver, something like that. And some might be red or something. Pitted tube looks a little bent. I'll probably be getting metal ones for it, and see if I can get some metal antennas too. I don't know if they have those or not. The wheel looks okay. You see it's going to require some cleanup, and there's a molding line around it. The nose looks pretty good, but there's some scratches on the front. There are little pits. Probably from the way it was packed. Fuselage has a nice texture to it. Recessed panel lines. Some rivet marks around here too. Also rivet marks around here. So that looks pretty good. So here are the pylons and the rudder, the gun ports, and one of the landing gear. Or maybe that's the front landing gear. Maybe. But the landing gear looks good. It's nice. I don't see any pin marks there. So it should go together pretty easily. Pylons have, once again, the engraved panel lines. Everywhere is engraved. The rudder looks good too. It has a nice texture here for the ribbing. Looks nice. You can see tabs too here. And tab here. So those look good too. Then we have here 2 double trees. So the last 4 trees come on 2 sprues like this. Yeah, that looks like okay. The other landing gear was the front landing gear. The rear landing gear is here on these 2. So the landing gear looks good. I don't see pin marks, and there's maybe a light molding line around it, but it's not really a big deal. You can get rid of that really easily with just some light staging. Here's some good texture and engraved lines. The horizontal stabilizer is the same. It has the nice ribbing here and engraved panel lines. Same here. The seat looks really good. But in the picture it showed seat belts, but there's no seat belts here. There may be decal. I have to take a look at the decal sheet still. So here's the propellers. They look nice, smooth, no flash. And there's a tab here for positioning. Above the tab is though a pin mark. This is a pretty deep one. So that's going to have to be sanded down, taken care of, rounded out. Here's our engine. It has no detail. Just this. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It looks, I've never seen an engine that looks like that. There's no other parts to it either. Here's the cowling. The cowling looks good as well. The exhaust looks decent. It's not hollow. Maybe some quick boost exhaust if they're available. And here's the rockets. They look pretty good too, but they're 2-piece rockets. So you're gonna have to glue them together and take care of the line. The antennas look really good and they look pretty sturdy actually. I wasn't expecting that. A lot of times they're really thin, like I have the PBY Catalina, and they're really thin, and it's an old kit, but didn't turn out so well actually. Even though the paint job looks decent. So it looks pretty good. The wheels have molding lines around it, but they look good despite that. They have bolt heads here on both sides, so that's nice. So last but not least, here's the decal sheet. And there are no seat belts here either. So on the instruction sheet it showed one version, but here it shows you have more 2 different numberings. So I don't know what the other one is. And I don't know what, are you just supposed to paint lines on it like a seatbelt or what? Because it shows definitely here that there's seat belts. But there's no seat belts in the decals, there's also no seat belts on the tree. So that's beyond me. Because there's nothing there. And they're also not here. But the decals look good. And they're pretty plain, there's no nose art or anything, but it has not just the numberings and stuff, but it also has the different warnings and everything, which is good. Nur hier betreten. Step is like step here. Nicht anfassen, don't touch. Nicht betreten, don't step, or no step. Some of them aren't really that clear to read, but the bigger ones are. So it's a nice decal sheet. So that's all I have for this video. It's a good kit, I think. The seatbelt's missing. Needs a better engine. Molding lines and pin marks have to be taken care of on some of the parts. It probably wouldn't need seatbelts. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. Also, it doesn't have a lot of detail on the interior of the wheel wells. So there may be a PE kit for that, or scratch build. So I think it'll turn into a decent looking aircraft though, with a little extra work. So thanks for watching. Next time we will be taking a look at my A26 Invader a little closer. It hasn't been fixed yet. The wheel's still broken off. But I wanted to show you all a little bit about it and the problems that I saw with the kit. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and until then.